You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show.
Hour 2 of the Generic Live Show. Hello everyone, welcome to the Generic Live Show, the most generic live show on the internet. My name is Dale Campbell. Thanks everyone for joining me. It's a pleasure as always. Into hour 2. It's good to be here on a Sunday. I'm Dale Campbell. I'm your host with the most. Hashtag bang host. I'm Dale Campbell. It's a pleasure as per always to be here. And welcome back to the Drought Live Show. For those people that only listen to hour 2 for some bizarre reason, quick housekeeping note: there will be no show next week. Just FYI, CJ and Rachel will be in the Great Land Down Under, and we'll probably might be in Cape Tribulation by now. We'll probably be outside of cell service. We'll probably be up in the rainforest this time next week. Because I think that's true. I think things had to get swapped around or something. So we're gonna be out on the out in the rainforest, out on the rainforest. And how good's this music been lately? Look at this. This is... we're making our way through the Argo Fox playlist that got sent to me. I didn't get the person who sent it to me. But we've got a ton of royalty-free music coming your way. So people have been sending it to me, and we're making our way through it slowly. So thank you, everyone. Keep sending things in. Hit me up on the Discord. Email the show at geek-io.net. GLS in the subject line. There you go. Alright, what do we got coming up? We have a new iOS. Nope, that's next. Time to wake up! Wake up! Everyone! Wake up! Oh, we should have used the weather waking you up or putting you to sleep bumper. Damn it. Damn it, Dale. Only you planned your show better, right? If only. Sleepiness. Epidemic costing Globe billions of dollars, and it nearly costed me the show today, so that's exciting. we are getting there. We are getting there. Lack of sleep has become a worldwide epidemic, costing developed nations, including Australia, billions of dollars in lost productivity, accidents on the road and in the workplace, poor health, and premature death. Ooh, researchers has found. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not a get-in bottle, though, so that doesn't count. It's this girl. Oh, if we zoom out. Nope. Alright, well. Oh, it's this girl versus Garth. Who will win? Shannon Lasbrook, who works from home in Sydney's eastern suburbs, says she is often working until midnight to contact offshore developers to meet Australian client deadlines by 9 AM the next day. With young children to take care of, her work hours means she sometimes gets 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Quote, "I don't have the luxury of sleeping in," she says. "It's a constant chuckle, but it works for me." Look at her. She's happy there. Her kids are not so much, but she is. A new study in the journal Sleep, published by Oxford University Press this week, found lack of sleep is a growing problem that has cost the Australian economy more than 66 billion with a B. Loss in productivity, workplace injuries, car accidents, and illness, including heart disease, stroke, diabetes. Tired. Diabetes, among other factors. Study co-author David Hillman from the Sir Charles Garnier Hospital in Perth said the study looked at the financial costs and clinic associated with that. Okay, you're repeating yourself. We are amidst a worldwide epidemic of inadequate sleep, some from clinical sleep disorders through pressures of compiling work, social and family activities, and some of failure to give sleep sufficient priority through choice or ignorance, Dr. Hillman said. Quote, "Apart from its impact on the well-being, this problem comes at a huge epidemic cost though its destructive effects on health and safety and productivity. Sleeping on the job. Now we're getting to some charts. The big one, that one is reduced well-being. Then we got the second one is lost in productivity. Direct costs, reduced well-being, non-medical accident bills, dead weight loss, and informal care cost. It's down the bottom. You'll see it. There we go. What is this? Oh, jeepers. Western nation reporting inadequate sleep. Australia 35%, UK 35%, USA 35%, Germany 35%, Canada 30%, Singapore 28%, and France 26%. Lack of sleep is also reduced attention, motivation, problem-solving ability, as well as confusion and inability to memory lapses. I would agree with this. This is agreeable. I mean, apart from that, that is the very much the exception to the rule. Is the fact that I slept in this morning. Is it does cost a lot. Like, people don't realize how important sleep is, and I think it's the younger population as well that are doing it as well, because they see that they have more to do, or that they're up later, like playing games or doing social activities and all the rest of it, because it's it's a thing that people get restless. Me personally, now, my typical day, and this is a good time to peel back the curtain a little bit, I think. My day, I do this podcasting stuff. I do it throughout the day. I typically, the GLS is the earliest I start doing prep. Typically, my call time for GLS is either 5:30 or 6, depending on the week. Last week I couldn't sleep and got up at 4, but my call time was 6. And these call times are self-inflicted, I know, but 6 a.m. gets me enough time to get the show started a bit before 7:30, so I can do final prep and make sure everything's in place, and typically do last minute prep. But thankfully half of this week's news stories are carryover from last week, so hopefully we were alright with little prep time. But it's what was I going to say? So typically that's the latest it goes. Monday is my rock block. I typically record until about 1:30. So it's a huge recording day for me. Outside of that, then not this week, not next week either, because the boats are here. But typically I then go to work after recording all day. I go to work. I work until midnight. I get home. I get down about 1. And then I get up 7:30, do my day, go to work, go to bed. So typically my day is, and this is a time zone thing. Like, I don't think I would have this problem if it was reversed, if that makes sense. If I worked throughout the day, recorded at night, went to bed, that would be a much better pattern for me than recording, then going to work, and then have to crescendo down. I think that is the problem. And my sleep patterns are really weird, because for the last 6 years of doing night shift and the past 6.5 years of doing recording, and things get a little bit janky. But don't get me wrong, I love doing what I do, but breaking it down to that's my rubber band. Breaking it down to the bare bones, that's where I lie. And I've gotten better over the years, because I used to be a massive sleeper. I used to get anywhere up to 12 to 13 hours of sleep a day before I got this job. And I think getting this job and having it the hours that I do is definitely a good thing for me. While I feel crass in the moment, definitely shifting from that new schedule, it was hard, because I used to sleep in for shows all the time because I would just be that exhausted in the early days, and that's how a lot of my shows just got the axe, because I would be just constantly sleeping in. And the thing with that is, the thing with this show is that it would typically record at night. It used to record at night. Now it records during the day, which is much better for me. So there you go. Wow, little way peek behind the curtain on that one. Literally went into my life. That life cast with Dale. How's everyone else sleep? That sounds weird. and this article does bring in a good point, where it's the constant 24/7 operations and having everyone connected all at the same time, and spoiler alert, many people have their phones or telecommunication devices as alarm clocks, and they are constantly dinging throughout the night. Mine's gotten better at not dinging throughout the night because of snooze notifications now, but they used to always ding at 3 a.m. in the morning, and that's American time, so it's you balance that. And I sometimes take naps during the day, depending on what I've got on. Of course, Simona says she's not good at sleeping. Oh, that sucks. Oh, I mean, it is a skill, but I think this article's pointing out that if it's a skill, it's a skill that you need to muster for you. It's the sleep is the UDU boo of the world, and yes, there are guidelines, and I think, how much should an adult human being sleep per night by age? Okay. And there is recommendations that they recommend, but if you live comfortably, and if you think you live comfortably off that amount of sleep every night, then you're technically a functioning human being. So there you go. So the National Sleep Foundation new sleep times, I don't make this up, aged children between 6 and 13 recommended 9 to 11 hours. May be appropriate 7 to 8, 12 hours. Teenagers 17 to 14, 8 to 10, 7 to 11. Young adults 6 to 10 to 11, and 7 to 9 hours for adults. May be appropriate 6 to 10 hours for adults. So anywhere between 6 to 10 hours is apparently appropriate. I can function off. I can still be a human being on 4 hours, but I'm not good, and I have to have a ton of broccoli coffee from the last hour to function off 4 hours. And that's when I was traveling a lot last month, I found that a lot, that I was just not sleeping a lot at all, because one of my days ended at like 2 a.m. when I got in from the airport. Got in at 2 a.m. and just, as my body was in that cycle of waking up early for early morning flights a lot of the time at that stage. So I was up at 3 a.m. I had 1 hour sleep, and then I woke up and I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? And then I went back to sleep and woke up at 8. So I got 5 hours. So there you go. Cosmona says I can usually function, drive, and do maths on like 4.5, but I generally try to get 6 or 9. I typically try and get 6 a night myself. By the time I get down at like, I think I was down at like 10 last night, and I woke up at 7. So that's like the most amount of sleep I've had in a while. But typically I get down around 1 and get up at around 8, 6 to 8 is typically when I wake up. So, but my problem is, I think I have to form that pattern. I have to form the pattern, and I break my own pattern way too often for my liking. So there you go. This has been Sleep Hour. Let's look at see how our friend is going. Yep, nope, he's still there. Okay, good to know. Definitely a pre-show bit. Definitely a pre-show bit. All right, should let that die, but I won't because he's mildly attractive. All right, moving along. There is a new iOS update because of course there is. It's a day ending in Y, so why wouldn't there? Still shirtless. Yep. Turns out, Garf, still shirtless. Still shirtless, Garf. Put a shirt on, Garf. And this is going to be a great episode for audio listeners. Visual bits on an audio podcast. It amazes me how many people listen to this show on audio, but anyway. Alright. iOS 11.4 will update your phone! And how to get it today. Last week. Welcome to the Generic Live Show, where you can update your phone yesterday. Last week. Visual bits on an audio podcast. Someone needs to record that as an actual bumper so we just have it all the time. Is your telco ripping you off? This is not relevant, but I still want to play it. Because it's my show. Yeah, Aussies spend a lot of money. Turn that down. You still get an iPhone plan for one of the two big ones. Sport and something. This is just great.
Pay more per person on their mobile phones than most other like-minded countries, and if we were to sit there and compare, then we're definitely getting a raw deal.
Apparently, we're getting a raw deal. Not a cooked meal, but a raw meal. And it's just more of that. Okay, well, that's not helpful. Definitely not helpful. Apple have introduced a long-awaited iOS 11.4 update. It's now available and you can install it on your phone, iPad, or iPod Touch. Wait, do people still have iPod Touches? Are still a thing? iPhone... What? iPhone... Okay. iPod Touches are still a thing? Who uses an iPod Touch? Also, I apologize if anyone in my audience uses an iPod Touch. But they're no longer the big, like, phone-sized things like they used to be, right? They're no longer that. Anyway. What's new? AirPlay 2! Come on, news.com.au. Don't do this to me. You can now control your home audio system and AirPlay 2 enabled speakers throughout your home. You can play music at the same time on multiple AirPlay 2 enabled speakers in your house, or all in Sitch. They're all in Sitch. Crossroads says because it's connected to their phones, they're still allowed to use phones when we are. Crossroads says we actually use iPod Touch to communicate with my bosses while we're at work when they're not in the store because it's connected to their phones and we're not allowed to use our cell phones when we are working. There you go. That's good, I suppose. And it's probably the iPod Touches are probably connected via Wi-Fi. I'm assuming. Are they all in Sitch though? That's interesting. All right. You can control your voice to you can use your voice to control. You can use your control to voice AirPlay 2 enabled speakers using Siri on your Apple devices, and you can also take a call or play a game on your iPod or iPad without interrupting audio playback using AirPlay 2 enabled speakers. That's what it looks like. It looks like a HomePod. has finally added HomePod stereo pairing with your iPhone or iPad. It senses the location of your room and will balance the sound. Beamforming technology, whatever that means. You can now store your messages, photos, and other attachments in iCloud, freeing up space on your devices. I don't know how I feel about that. How do I feel about all of my messages going on iCloud and getting hacked? Although I'm not a celebrity, so I don't think I have to worry about that, right? All of your messages appear when you sign into a new device with the same iMessage account. That's pretty good. That's pretty nifty. When you delete your messages and conversations, they are instantly removed from all of your devices, as they should be. To turn on messages by iCloud, go to Settings, your name, and iCloud, and go in there. Your conversations will still be end-to-end encrypted, even in the cloud. There you go. Other benefits. Teachers can now assign their students reading activities on iBooks. Ooh, that's actually that actually, with the way that iPads are being distributed through schools, that's a good, okay. Certain rogue character sequences are no longer causing messages to crash. That's helpful. You don't want your rogue to crash your messages. An issue preventing logins and file accesses to Google Drives, Docs, Gmail, and in Safari have been fixed. Data syncing and health should work correctly now. I like how they've been tinkering with health for such a long time, and then it's just like, it should work now. An issue, stop using from changing which apps access health data should be fixed. An app that causes to appear in incorrect location on the home screen has been fixed. CarPlay audio should no longer become distorted. It's worth noting that it's worth noting that It's worth noting that this is a fairly minor update for iOS devices. We are expecting a much bigger show when the new iPhone features at June's WWDC Worldwide Developers Conference. The annual Apple event typically sees the company unveiling a raft of hot gadgets features coming later that year. I mean, these might seem like small updates, but they are huge to some people. Like people that use HomePods and what is it? AirPlay. That's pretty nifty for them, and you know, some people are getting excited about having their messages, you know, being able to be stored in the iCloud. So it's pretty. I think it's a huge deal. Me personally, I think it's a good deal. That's all that matters, right? If I think it's a good deal, then it's a good deal. Alright, well, we are definitely going to take a break, because this next article requires a lot of reading, so we're going to take a quick break. How bad is the drought, and why has it been so dry? Australia is the driest it has ever been, apparently, according to ABC News. And we'll break down this article as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here. It's a pleasure as always. We'll see you on the other side of these messages. Stay tuned.
This Geek IO Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They are the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes 1 audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io podcast network. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Amazon. Amazon has all of your needs for all occasions. Amazon stocks a large range of pretty much everything. Everything from automotive to baby to computers, payment cards, groceries, health and personal care, and everything for Amazon Kindles, ebooks, movies and television, magazines, office products, and stuff for your patio, lawn, and garden. Hey, they even sell sports goods. If you're into sports ball. If you're ready to check out the range at Amazon.com, use geek-io.net/Amazon to help out the Geek.io podcast network. We get a little bit of a kickback through our affiliate link there. That's geek-io.net/Amazon. Amazon. Everything for every occasion. Everything for every occasion may not be the official slogan for Amazon. Some products not available in all areas.
Hold on tight. This is the Generic Live Show.
Yes! Hello everyone and welcome to the Rank Live Show. This is the Rank Live Show. Welcome back. It's a pleasure to be here as per always. My name's Dale Campbell. The daughter for KKO. Thanks for joining us. What's that noise? Oh, it's the song. I thought something was breaking there for half a second. I had myself all worried. I had myself a little worried there that someone was glitching. But it's not. The show is such a mess sometimes. Hi everyone. My name's Dale. I exist. Hey! So, this is kind of gonna be a weird, like, the hour 2 is a bit weird because I found this article this morning actually. In fact, 4 hours ago. I didn't find it 4 hours ago, but it found me 4 hours ago. So, autumn, they say, how bad is the drought and why has it been so dry? This is the ABC. Oh, by the way, breaking news. If anyone cares, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will tour Australia, New Zealand, Fiji and Tonga in October. Oh, hang on. Breaking news. Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news for those who care. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will tour Australia, New Zealand, Fiji and Tonga in October. Just in case anyone cared. Just in case. So here's a picture of Australia. So rainfall projectile rating. So that's basically what the... Oh, there's Tasmania. Oh, and there's Tasmania. So that's what the drought is kind of looking like for the time being. For the 3 months between March and May of 2018, rainfall projectiles. I think rainfall projectiles rating is if it's like rainfall like projection. I think it's more projections, if that makes sense. Percentile? Yeah, that's meant to be percentile. Yeah, sorry, that's I said projectiles, didn't I? Oops, percentile projectiles. What am I doing? This autumn has been fourth warmest on record for Australia, with below average rainfall projectiles. I can't get over that. With the most of the country, according to the Bureau of Meteorology's autumn summary that came out this morning. Autumn summary. So here's a graphly of June of 2017 with lowest on record and rain. This is 2018 so far. Oh, it's a year. Huh. It's kind of all over the place, to be completely honest. So we're going to watch this one way through. So this May 2017. The reds still exist in all the same areas, but it moved kind of westerly as the year went on. Huh. Alright, well, let's pause that so I'm not wasting up bandwidth. This graph is rainfall summary. It kind of is coming up and down in waves, but there's more downs than ups, which is basically the whole point of this article, is the fact that there's more downs than ups in terms of rain. According to Blair Terwin, senior climatologist at the Bureau, the areas expecting the most significant drought at the moment are in New South Wales, northwest Victoria, and eastern South Australia. Quote, many parts of central and eastern New South Wales have been well below average rainfall since April of last year, Dr. Terwin says. Quote, since the start of this year, the dry conditions have spread to cover most of inland parts of the state. Rain over the past few weeks in Western Australia has eased drought conditions, although some areas, particularly east of Albany in the state's south, still remain very dry. That's the Gifley. When you look at the timescale of 6 months through to a year, there's a significant drought in the worst affected parts of New South Wales. The only autumn on record this one is South Australia was in 1902, the year of Federation. Drought peaked. The Boer War ended, and women got the right to vote in New South Wales and federal elections. During the Federation drought, the Darling River virtually ran dry at the Burke in New South Wales, and the Australian wheat crop was all but lost. The current dry is not extensive as long-term droughts as the past, and oh boy, this is a history for the ages. This is a picture for the ages, isn't it? Yeah. So this article goes on to explain why it's so dry. We'll get to that video in a minute. And this is Australia under... Trying to figure out what that is. But I think that's a drought meter, I think. Huh. High pressure anomaly. So there's a lot of high pressure building. Basically is what that picture is saying. Your country is a desert, Corson Rhino says. Yes, I know. I shouldn't be surprised that it's dry in a desert. Also, our country is 90% inhabitable, so I'm not really surprised of that either. Isn't there always a drought in deserts? That's true. It's very true. There's also water in deserts. Oh no, that's called hallucinations. That's a different thing. That you often hallucinate water in deserts. Dr. Towan said that dry conditions are due to what hasn't been happening, rather than what has. That's weather in a nutshell. Quote, during the summer, you're often looking at a feed of tropical moisture. When you get moisture feeding in tropical monsoon coming south, he says. But that doesn't really happen. That didn't really happen this year. All of the rain stayed in the tropics this time around. There wasn't an event in March with pronounced a lot of rain on the coast from Newcastle northwards, but it basically had no effect on inland areas and no effect south of Newcastle, Dr. Terwin said. Why aren't the systems coming? Dr. Terwin says the east coast lows tended to be random. Quote, the lack of major northwest feed of moisture is connected to the sea surface and temperatures of the Indian Ocean not being warm as they were in 2016, for example. Rao says, going from a desert to subtropical. It's fairly tropical where I am, mainly because of me specifically, where I am, because of the rainforests, and we live on the ocean. So it's fairly subtropical where I live. But again, there's not many people that have subtropical environments, and again, this is the 80-20 rule. This article is about it's 80% about the 20% of the however that works. I can't do math. This is about the 80%, not the 20%. But yeah, subtropical. I would love subtropical. We, again, like the article just said, we haven't really had many tropical moments. We've just been floating by. So there you go. What is this video? This is a Videro. And noise. And there is no noise. Apparently. Okay, this is a thing that's existing. Dear listeners. So he's basically driving his tractor down what used to be a field of wheat, I'm assuming. This is a wheat field. Can someone, with the caption, can someone organise some rain? But University of Melbourne PhD candidate Mandy Frood there's an R there, so I'm trying to announce the R. It says this is not a one-off. It looks like this was the climate 800 years ago. Using corals, ice cores, tree rings, and cave recordings to investigate what the climate was up to 800 years ago. Quote, if we look at the cool season, we can see that the Murray-Darling Basin is quite unusual declining trend for the rainfall for the last 30 years. Ms. Frood has said the central to northern New South Wales didn't have any disciplinary trends, and southwest Western Australia is variable with recent declines in the cool season rainfall. Quote, we can say that there are... Quote, we can say that there have been a decline in the rainfall over the past 50 years. There is a decline of 3 million... there is a decline of about 3 millimetres a year, which is we can see in southwest Western Australia. Southwest Western Australia. So how's the outlook for winter looking? Well, we have a video. And thank God for that, because I'm a little over talking. Chris Romano says, I mean, yes, that's horrible for things like wildfires. That's very true. Like, there was some very wild fires in Victoria back in like 2013, I want to say. Her name is like feud. Freud. There you go. Freud. According to Pokemon Go, I can enjoy 3 times Stardust until June 21st. So that's exciting, though. So what has winter got in store for us? Let's see if there's any talking on this video. It's 3 minutes long. This is exciting. Weather chat. This is a news show, so weather has to come up, right? We've had sports, we've had weather.
Welcome to the Climate and Water Outlook for winter 2018. Autumn's dry and warm conditions are likely to continue in southern Australia, particularly in the early part of winter, with weather systems still tracking to the south of the continent. But first, let's look at recent conditions. Despite neutral climate drivers, autumn was very dry across southern Australia. Southern mainland states had one of their driest autumns since 1900. In contrast, flooding rains in parts of the north during March and April brought a green covering to drought-affected areas of Queensland. One thing many farmers look for at this time of year is the autumn break. This is the first time an area gets any significant rain, say 25 millimetres of rain in 3 days. The break arrived by mid-May for most of southern Victoria, along the east coast and in southwest coastal areas of WA. But many key agricultural areas are still waiting. Western Australia had one of its driest and warmest autumns on record. Autumn temperatures were well above average in many other parts too. The Murray-Darling Basin averaged nearly 27 degrees, almost identical to 2016, which was the area's warmest autumn on record. Meanwhile, up north, Darwin Airport recorded 7 consecutive nights below 20 degrees, perfect to kick off the mango growing season. The air that reached Darwin had travelled all the way from the Southern Ocean, south of Tasmania, over the previous 10 days. Low rainfall and high temperatures led to very dry soils across much of southern Australia. Water storages in southern Australia usually start to fill in May. However, some storages are lower than last month, indicating that the filling season has not yet started. So what's driving our climate right now? Both the Pacific and Indian Oceans are showing neutral climate patterns and are likely to stay that way during winter. Over the Southern Ocean, weather systems are expected to remain further south over winter, with fewer cold fronts reaching mainland Australia. We saw this in May, with a strong high pressure system blocking fronts from reaching into southern Australia. So what does this mean for the winter rainfall outlook? Well, below average rainfall is likely for southeastern Australia and parts of Western Australia. The outlook for June is looking particularly dry for much of Australia. Rain that does fall in the south will largely soak into the dry soils. As a result, the May to July streamflow outlook indicates low flows are likely to continue across much of the south. Some localised high flows will persist in Queensland following the heavy March rainfall. In terms of temperatures, warmer than average days are likely for much of Australia. Locations along the east coast can expect more very mild days than usual over winter. So in summary, winter is likely to be drier than average in parts of Western Australia and in the southeast of Australia, particularly in June. Temperatures are likely to be warmer than average and low stream flows are likely at most locations. For more details, visit our website at bom.gov.au/climate/ahead. You can also get updates via Facebook and Twitter.
All right.
Our first look at likely conditions for July to September will be available on Thursday, the 14th of June. For the Bureau of Meteorology, I'm Andrew Watkins.
Thanks, Andrew. I wonder if Andrew looks like this. I wonder if Andrew looks like this under all of that. I just. All right, now it's becoming a forced meme. No, and I find a particular interest in all of this stuff, and I know it's just my thing, and I've literally pushed my whole audience to be entirely bored of this whole show, but this is stuff that interests me. I like to follow tropical storms as well, and I had nothing to follow this year because Guess how many? Guess how many tropical storms hit the east coast of Australia? I'll give you a hint. It's 0. Okay, guesses in 3, 2, 1, and done. I doubt it, says Coruscant Rider. I doubt it too, but you never know. I can spoil it for you. I don't look like that. So 0. Coruscant Rider guesses 0. All right. Well, any other guesses? Coruscant Rider gets it. Hey, woo-hoo! It was 0. It was 0. It was 0. All right. Well, I don't have so what else has been happening? That's about it. That's all I have. That's all I have. We can round it out there and then kick it to a little bit of a post show. You never know. We have to keep the post show a little bit tighter than normal. So, well, we can head on out of here. We might fill the space anyway. You never know. Let's find out what we learnt today. Shall we? When I load up my thing. I need to load up my thing. Where's my thing? There's my thing. What did we learn today, you guys? We had a fun show. It was definitely a fun show. We learnt, this was technically in the pre-show, but we learnt what this meant. Go check out the pre-show. It was an amazing pre-show. We also learnt that Dale is very interested in boring weather patterns, apparently. So there you go. We also learned that it is dry in a desert. We learned that deserts and subtropical environments are not the same thing. So there you go. There's that. We also learned that our iMessages can now be stored in the iCloud. That's exciting. People get excited over everything being in Cinch. Because sync doesn't have an H in it, does it? I don't think it does. Definitely not in my world. We also learned that sleepiness is costing us billions of dollars. We learned that broccoli coffee is the new hipster dieting trend that is also helping farmers. Helping farmers and being a hipster at the same time. Coruscant Rhino points out that we learned the differences between pro-life and pro-choice. We learned the extremism of pro-life and pro-choice. There you go. Yes, we learned that New South Wales are ahead of the curve on providing safe spaces, a safe access zone to abortion clinics. We also learned that it is comedy hour at the council chambers today because everyone wants to hear the no answers. That's so weird. We also took you back to June of 2003, and finally we learnt if it's a week, there will always be trouble in the cricket world. Alright, let's get plugs out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dale Campbell. You can find me on Twitter at The Dale Campbell. That's TheDaleCampbell. I'm also that on Instagram. You can find everything that I do. You can email the show, show at geek-io.net. Put GLS in the subject line. What else? What other commands do I have to spam? Discord. You can keep the conversation alive once we go offline. That's right. geek-io.net/discord. Singular. geek-io.net/discord. You can support everything that you do. That you do that I do, that we do, over at patreon.com/geekio. You can get a massive RSS feed for every program, the Geekio program that you like to consume on a daily basis over there. You guys have been amazing as per always. Stay funky fresh, fam. And we'll see you all next time. Bye! And I hope you've enjoyed this Geekio Media Network production. Copyright 2018, you see how that works?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.